Hello, everybody, and welcome to this special treat. As you see with us, we have Ed Beard Jr. and his daughter Destiny there in the background managing everything. Everybody say hi in chat to Destiny as well. Uh, and thank you so much for joining us. We are super stoked to have you back with us again to talk about the art and the cards and everything. Guys, remember to leave comments in the chat and we will get back to you as quickly as possible. But we have so many cool things. So, Ed, welcome back to us. And what do you have in store for us today?
Well, thank you. You guys have been awesome. You supported me from the very beginning, and I can't thank you enough for having us now in this final climactic moment of the beginning of the debut. We're only, 2 weeks from GenCon, so this is pretty wild. We've had two major reveals. We've had the Adonitum, and we've had Celestis. Those got quite a bit of great response. That was kind of cool. And of course, we don't know the mechanics of the card. We know that Celestis. I don't think we've seen Adonitum's mechanics yet. Okay,
No,
right.
Celestis we have.
All right, so there you go. So yeah, there's still a lot of mystery in store. I think I got like 5 more cards that haven't really been revealed. But today we do have a complete display of the canvas reproductions of all the images that have been, well, except Kairos, but you guys have seen Kairos so many darn times. So I figured let me focus on these today, but also some of the brand new products that we just got in. In fact, some of them are behind the camera. We'll flip that around later. Specifically of the newest release, actually. And yeah, also I have your audience is the first persons to see the debut GenCon playmat, which is for the Dragonlord's Lair, and that just came in from Ultra Pro yesterday. So I just got the final proofs. It's in production. They are scrambling to get it to me in time on the 25th, but they guarantee me they're doing it. So believe me, they're not going to mess up. I've been working with them for a long time, and they're like, "We're going to get it done for you." I'm like, "Cool." So that looks great. Destiny is going to be also in the chat. Yeah. So if there are any questions that they've asked specifically that we can answer personally, we'll try to help. You'll be looking for Destiny B. What are you under?
It's actually under yours. So it should be under
Fantasy Artist?
Ed Beard Jr. Fantasy Artist.
It'll be under Ed Beard Jr. Fantasy Artist. So you'll know those comments are coming directly from us.
The secret is revealed. I am actually the artist.
There you go. The truth has come out. We are currently in the Dragonlord studio where most of the painting was done. I would say most of it. It was during the wintertime. We went up into the smaller studio upstairs. This is the big one. This is where the Dragonlord van sits, right in front of me, right there. I'll show you guys that in a second. But yeah, this is kind of where it all happened. This was where we started a year and a half ago with the creating process, and that is the easel that normally I work on. It's normally flipped around the other way. We have 2 cameras, a close-up and a distance, and this is where it all happened. This is where the whole project began and pretty much is ready to debut everywhere. So
that's so exciting. So this is where the sorcery actually happens with all the paintings and everything. So, Ed, would you perhaps like to introduce us to the 2 dragons that we have recently got revealed? Because they are stunning, they look amazing on the card, and I can believe that they are even better up close and in person.
Absolutely. Okay, let me, Destiny, this is a little bit different. How do you flip the camera around?
Okay. So I think if we...
And we will be solo layouting so we can really get a good look at all the awesome art.
And then we go.
Okay. Oh, don't see that yet.
Don't look. There it is.
Okay. So let's go to add an item.
Oh, that's so amazing.
So add an item. She is one of basically the storm dragons, the storm lightning dragons. And the Dragonlord created her as both metallic to be able to conduct the enormous amount of voltage of electricity from the upper atmospheres and to be able to hone it. And she collects that, and her kind collects it, so that it can be provided to the creature that occupies the Dragonlord's lair, and that at the very crystal tower, the top of the crystal tower. And we'll show you that in a minute. But so they are their responsibility and what they were created for was just that, to gather all of this enormous amount of energy so that it can be honed and channeled into the crystal so that the Dragonlord could use it to open up different rifts and portals into the spirit realm. And that's how the infusion of the spirit energy that is associated with a specific element connects into the physical corporeal body. And so that's what they do. At first, she was kind of rebuked by the rest of the creations of the Dragonlord because she was, in effect, a little bit cyborg, you know. But then when everyone kind of realized how important she was and what she did, they started to embrace her. But they are also super ultra fast. I mean, breaking sound barriers is nothing for them, you know. And they also travel just outside the atmospheres of whatever planets they're on. So that was the concept. Now, as far as artistic style and design work-wise, this was so different for me because I'm usually creating these much more gnarly, bulkier, you know, dragons, more beefier, muscular. And I knew I wanted a more feminine, more slender look, but I also wanted it to appeal to a younger audience. And so my son, who loves Pokemon and Digimon and all of those kinds of characters, that was his generation back in the 90s, well, early 2000s. I was like talking with him, and I was like, you know, it'd be kind of cool if I could give it that tapered, sleek look, that dynamic pose that was very popular and expected to be seen in those kinds of cards, you know? So that was a little bit of an influence, my son's influence on the decision to make her in this anatomical format.
Oh, that's so cool. She has this very like elegant but strong shape.
Yeah, that was yes. There's tapered elegance in it. Yes, her hands, her fingers are thin, and even her face and everything is. She's very
like
fierce,
Valkyrie.
but she's like a Valkyrie.
Like a Valkyrie.
Very much like a Valkyrie Destiny. Yes, absolutely. So that is at an item. Now we move over to Celestis. I'm gonna actually remove I'm gonna swap this out so we can go right here. This piece is just one of those things. It was done in the early times during the storyline when I created the storyline. This was done back then, and this needed to be epic, poetic, spiritual. It was obviously a ghost-like dragon, and she appears only during the winter solstice, and that's specifically connecting to the concept of the veil being thinnest between the spirit world and the physical world. And because of that, she's very winter, and the colors and the different astrological aspects. And she is that vortex that is the connection point between all of the creatures the Dragonlord creates and that are living versus those that have moved on, as well as the descendants. And she allows that moment of communication between the two, which is very important, especially in my world of the Dragonlord, in which they are always crossing over in the multiverse. They're going through portals. So, but she's a protector. She's a guardian. She's kind of like what Harbinger of Fire, which is Ignis Rex, does, only on the bad side. She protects all those innocent souls or energy forces, as opposed to where Ignis Rex keeps all the not so good in check. So, so I'll let you go ahead and take a close look at that.
Oh, that's amazing.
I love that ethereal feel to the wings. They can see through to the night sky.
That's a great word, Jens. Ethereal, yeah. I think that's the correct word pretty much for it, yeah. And so speaking of the energy force that the Adonitum brings forth and kind of channels, there is another key creature that is actually kind of like the operator hub that makes the decisions and how to channel very specific elements into the correct bodies. Then down below in the birthing chambers, of course, we have the Cradle of Ethereum, which is, this right here is depicting, of course, a very unique first ever naturally organically formed metallic dragon. It's more like the chromatics, you know, it's the first of their kind. And that's what that was behind that whole story. And of course, we have all of the different types of species of dragons that are looking on, and these are all the mothers going, oh my lord, look at this very unique, special, you know, infant dragon that is coming forth. And speaking of the top of where this all happens from and where the Adonitum breed of dragon comes into play, this is all that energy force that they channel, and it goes into the crystal egg at the top of the Dragonlord's lair. But inside here, there is a creature that has not been revealed yet that does something very special. We'll all find out about that at GenCon.
Very exciting.
Yep. So, yeah, this has been a lifetime process and kind of like an opus for me. You know, when I wrote the storyline of the Dragonlord in 2005 and finished it in 2012, and decided to put a lot of the mural work on the van, which, Destiny, go ahead and turn around, give him a good shot. You probably have to back up.
Dragon van.
Ooh.
Yeah, baby. So here we have the Dragonlord van. And of course, the Elder Dragon reading the story of the Dragonlord. That was the first time I actually ever painted it.
Oh, that's cool.
So this book, as he reads this, it literally tells the story of the evolution of what happened throughout the world of the Dragonlord in its beginning times. And this is much later on in the history when humans and sorcery and wizards actually start to evolve. But yeah, so this thing was kind of like the only manifestation outside of probably about 60 paintings that I had done for the story originally. Before I wanted to produce a book, but I was thinking art book. You know, it would be a good way to present the story in an art book, which I am doing now. But we just never got to it. And then finally, thanks to Eric reaching out to me and giving this amazing opportunity, he says it just like this. He says, I've loved your dragon work. I would love to have you do something with us. And is there anything that you're working on that's dragon related? And I just went, holy moly, I got an idea. And
Something clicked.
Yeah, it was serendipitous. And I was like, oh my God, a chance to do an adaptation of my storyline with new paintings into this game, which has already a deep, rich lore, and it would be great to merge those two. And so here we are now, what is it, a year and a half later, and all things have culminated to the reality. You know, we're about to have it happen. And so was it yesterday? Was it yesterday we received our shipment?
Yeah,
I think yesterday. There's so much going on, I can't even keep track. And we're about to head off with the Dragonlord. It's actually going to be on display at Syracuse Nationals, which is up in New York. We're raising money for Ronald McDonald House. I do that every year, so that's where that's going. I'll be painting live there. I'll actually have some of the canvases from the Dragonlord set. So, but yeah, I couldn't believe yesterday when I saw those cases arrive, and I'm just sitting there going, this is it. This is what makes it real. You know, this was that moment. And
having product in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, I have not seen the cards yet. I have not opened a single box, and I'm not going to. No. I am going to, just like everybody else, wait until GenCon, and I'm going to sit there in the booth, and I'm going to tell everybody I'm opening this for the first time, and I'll be looking inside. I have not looked inside the box. The box they sent me, this one, which is technically the proof, and it's actually, I don't know if you can see the signature on it. Can you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can. You can.
So I signed it, and then of course it says 0 out of 700 because this is the proof. There's nothing in this box. This is an empty box. So all I knew is, it's really got a cool magnetic clip to it, which is really high end. It's like rock hard. It's like basically a high end bookcase, it's like a slip case type thing. And I was really impressed with it, but I have not seen the cards. I mean, I've seen the cards digitally, but I have never had them in my hand physically. So when I look inside for the first time, like everybody else, that Thursday morning, I think it's Thursday morning, we're going to be at GenCon. Mm-hmm. It's going to be pretty wild.
That's going to be a major moment also for people to just see you react to the cards and really seeing them in hand for the first time.
Yeah. I didn't want to spoil it for myself. I wanted to be like everybody else right now going, man, we've been waiting for a long time. I can't wait to see these. And so I'm putting myself in the same shoes. I mean, obviously I'll be there an hour or roughly an hour before opening that first day of GenCon. But I'm not going to open it until they open the doors. And once they open the doors, I'm going, give me my box.
Really sharing that excitement together with the community. That's amazing. Especially because we know now that there's going to be all the cards and then an extra one in foil.
Yeah.
So can you tell us which one would you prefer to get in foil?
That's a great question. Oh my God, I've not even thought of that, because you're right. Whatever I open, it's going to be... That'll be one of the 13 images. Oh my Lord!
No, we can't say.
No, I can't. But
that's true.
But out of the ones that have been revealed,
yes, yeah. Out of the ones that have been revealed.
So let's see. Out of the ones, oh man, I know what to me aesthetically is going to look the best under foil.
Yeah.
Well, at least 2 of them that are going to look dynamic under foil. It's hard. I deliberately changed up palettes. You know, the Dragonlord is mostly yellow, greens, and oranges. This guy, blues and purples. This is pretty much a mix. This one is that blood red with purple and teal. This one, every color. And of course, this one, pretty much every color, the Dragonlord's Lair. But then you have Harbinger of Fire, which is predominantly purple, orange, and black. I'm going to say for foil, the most dynamic and versatile piece is probably going to be the Dragonlord's Lair.
Oh, yeah.
Because it has every single color in the whole spectrum.
Yeah.
I think this will be an amazing foil.
Yeah, and that like beam of lightning coming up in light, that will be amazing in foil.
It probably, when you turn it, it will probably look like action, like something's actually happening.
Yeah.
But I also think Add an Item is going to have that same effect. Because of all the
sure.
But I'm going to say for me, probably this, the Dragonlord's Lair. It was the second painting that I did out of the whole series of the new pieces. And I'm gonna say probably Dragonlord's Lair will probably be for me the cool. I'll look forward to seeing that, you know.
For sure.
Yeah. But so anyways, yes, we are going to sign the very first box. So what I have here is my very first opened case. I haven't taken anything out yet. Well, I did actually yesterday for the photo. I pulled it out, then put it back. But I have it. They're all in the shrink wrap. So I'm going to unshrink one of these. I am going to sign it number 1 out of 700 right in front of everybody here. And then I'm putting it back. And then I'll basically, we'll keep that. That'll be something we keep for our, personal sake.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then
I have cheers from Anson Maddox in the chat as well. Loads of people reacting and saying that this looks amazing.
Oh, thank you so much, Anson. Appreciate it, my friend. My God. Yeah, it's hard to imagine. We all go back, 35 years now, I mean, I started in 92 with game card, or it's not game card, fantasy art card with a little bit of a game to it. And just before Magic came out, there was this, I'm trying to think if that wasn't Steve Jackson. It was one of the earlier game companies. Back in those days, we didn't have poker style formats. It was just square corner cards. There was on the back of the card instructions for a gameplay, kind of like role playing. And then on the front was a full piece of artwork. It wasn't this half card of art and text at the bottom. And I had produced Flights of Fantasy. It was an introduction as a fantasy art card set that then had a game element. It was role playing. It was basically you battle in strength, stamina, intellect, and agility. There were points for good characters, that kind of thing. And I mean, I did that project entirely on my own. My daughter was in her little playpen and swing chair. She was 1 year old.
Time flies.
It does, yeah. And she watched all those little paintings while her dad's trying to work them, Yep. And that was the beginning. And I wound up going to GenCon in 92 to present that. And I think I was doing a comic book at the time as well with Acclaim Comics. So I was a comic artist guest. And I remember when Wizards came by and that very first time, and they were just a role-playing game. They hadn't really had anything. And they had asked they said, would you like to work on this card game? We have this concept, and, it's going to be a half little postage stamp of art with text, and we're paying $50, but shares in a company. Of course, I looked up the companies, like they got nothing. There's no value to it. And I wasn't a good gambler at those days. I didn't do investment. I had just been taken advantage of, and I had a bankruptcy filed against me that they didn't pay me $30,000 they owed me. So I was in a bad place to take more risks. And I wish that wasn't the case, because I said no. And then the next year I go to GenCon, and what do you think happened? Of course, 93. Everywhere there's Magic the Gathering. And then they came by around again, and they said, hey, Ed, what do you think? I said, yeah, definitely, I'll take that offer. And he goes, well, we're not offering shares anymore. I'm like, oh, man.
Darn it.
But yeah, so this is amazing, that many years back. And of course, in those early days, the technology of digital art was not really there. So everything was hand-painted. And that only lasted for a brief time. Wasn't too much longer. I think it was like 95, 96. Photoshop had started to come into its own. By 2000, you had CS1. And just about everybody was going digital in the commercial illustration field. And while I was still, old school hand painted, because I had been doing business since '79. I was a self-employed artist by 1980 in business. I was still going to hold on to that hand painted craftsmanship. And I watched that all disappear by the early 2000s, So I continued to do my own thing, and then never imagining, 15 years later, close to it, I'd get called, hey man, we're doing this hand-painted project. Have you heard about it? Sorcery. It's 100% hand-painted. I'm like, what has happened here? Have I just gone back into a time warp or something? Yeah, it was just wonderful. It's amazing, amazing time that we've had. And especially where we're at now with digital and AI, competing and taking up so many of the illustration commercial jobs. And to have this product be so heavily focused on craftsmanship and hand painted, making an original painting in an era and a time that is completely in opposition to that is amazing. It's like the yin and yang, the whole total pendulum. Yeah.
But I think people are so hungry for that authentic handmade experience that is a connection with the artist and not with just some AI generated stuff. People who are really hungry for that true connection with like humanity.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And it was the only positive thing that I felt came out of the whole shutdown in 2020 was the fact that, because before that I was teaching in person. I had classes for years. Since 1994 I had airbrush instruction. I used to do creature development, medical anatomy, because I was a medical illustrator type thing. And I would have 15 roughly young people, and even some older, come into my classes in person. But then when that shutdown happened in 2020, and no one could do that, I was scrambling, like, what am I going to do to keep teaching? And I'm completely alone. I'm used to going to shows and painting live. And I go out of my mind if I'm in my studio by myself. My wheels start turning, ADHD to the max. And somebody had said, I think it was Deanna DeVoli, the artist, wasn't it?
One of our artist
She
friends,
she had just started doing Patreon, and Patreon was relatively new, and she said, you should try it. And I went, okay. And so I did a social media blast and say, hey guys, there's this live demonstration ability I can have through Patreon. You become a member. And you're going to be, and I'll be just doing live. Everything that I was doing, in person, or that you didn't even get to see, now I can do it in front of you. And so we bought the equipment, went through about 6 months of back and forth with different cameras until we finally nailed down a good process with OBS. And then it took off. And then I got up to about 125 members, at least as of last week. And I've had those solid 125 members for 5 years, dedicated. Many of them got the chance to see all of these paintings being done. We have an NDA policy with all of our Patreon members, and they're cool with it. And they were every one of them were honorable. Nobody leaked anything. So it is because of technology in that respect. This is what's so different. I came from a time where the only way an artist could get a job is literally going to a store, knocking on the door and say, hey, by the way, I see you have this large outside wall. Would you like to have a mural done with some lettering and advertise your product? Or going into an automotive body shop where I was doing airbrushing and say, hey, I can customize this car or this motorcycle. You only got jobs if you could talk to the people. There was no internet. There was no email. So you were very limited to the region you were in. And if you weren't in a big region of metropolis where there was, some the opportunities, as an artist, you wouldn't survive. And so it was really challenging. And then all of a sudden the technology comes into play. And now here we are 25 years after that, and we have Patreon. I would never have dreamed I could do all these paintings live in front of people and have 100 people tune in and see what I'm doing, no matter where I am, here in my garage in the middle of Pennsylvania. So there's the positive sides of technology. It's just, the key is moderation and where it's appropriately applied. And we just don't do that, unfortunately. But this product has got the best of both worlds. And I just really hope that it continues to maintain that, so.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. I do have a lot of premiere, to showcase you, like the Playmat and all that.
We would love to dive into it, but I just have to get your reaction to the fact that Dragonlord, this mini set, which is your art, your passion, and everything, it sold out so extremely quickly for the first pre-order on Team Covenant. What was your reaction to seeing that sell out so quickly?
Oh man. So Destiny, why don't we put the camera back up? Because your arms are going to get tired, and we need to have you for later on.
Now it's me again.
All right, now be careful because the buttons.
Got everyone in selfie.
The buttons are on. That's. I think this is the safe way.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Okay, pull that down. There you go.
There you go.
Okay, good. All right. So what was my reaction? I don't even know how it happened. I think someone messaged me and said, hey, Ed, you got to check this video. It was like around 11 or something. And it was a link to the live where those two, I don't know their names, from Team Covenant, were doing this.
Steven,
yeah, the broadcast. And they were saying, man, we really just underestimated this. And we're just telling you now, at the rate that this thing is selling, it will probably sell out. And of course, what is it? It was 2.5 hours in, gone. And so the first thought in my mind is, and this is the truth, and everybody, honestly, I mean, I don't know anyone that was in the gameplay aspect of this product that was doing, influencers that were doing reviews, even you folks, you questioned, how is a 13 card set going to have any relevance to the game? Not to mention, how will it be, where's the desirability of it? How will it be embraced, except for the strict aspect of art, which isn't going to be enough to float it, kind of thing. That's what everyone was thinking. And I kept saying, guys, there is aside from the very high-end collectability aspect of this and the limited aspect of it, there's this storyline that's rich and immersive. I've been nurturing that from the day one. I knew from all the Patreon members, or at least 100 of them, that were a good sliver representation of the public's interest. They came from all over the world. I have members from Japan, all over. And when I would do the paintings and I would talk about the story and the lore, they would be just, oh my God, this product is wicked cool. So I knew that if given a chance, if people had a chance to find out about it and what was behind it, it wasn't just pretty pictures on the card, just a little teeny 13 add-on, but it had a lot more to it. And there was that collectability aspect that it was going to be heavily underestimated if people didn't talk enough about it. So I started doing my best to social media, post about it. I showed little sneak peeks and stuff. And pretty much that was where it ended. And I know a lot of the distributors. I deal with them on different things through some friends of mine that are retailers, right? One of the if not the largest retailer in central Pennsylvania works with Southern Hobby. And I knew he was having a hard time nobody was talking about this. So none of the distributors seemed to have it on their radar. And I don't know what that's all about, why. But I kind of knew that this was going to be underestimated, and that whatever polling was done to see what kind of demand there was that somehow it was missing the boat. And I feared that it was going to come in and it was going to sell out quick. And that's only thing is, I was thinking 2 weeks, 3 weeks. In fact, I think the guys from Team Covenant mentioned that they thought maybe 2 or 3 weeks. So it really was a told you so moment for me. So when I got I was like, yes. But I'm not cheering that there's all these people here that can't get the product. I'm cheering about the fact that the demand for what I've produced, and what Eric has produced. Eric and I worked hard on getting this thing, so the synergy between the mechanics, the art, and the titles with my storyline and this product was perfect. And it really is. And then I did know about the rule change that was coming. So I've known that for a while. So I knew that was going to elevate the playability and make it an even more attractive product. So when you combine all those elements, the art, the uniqueness, the storyline, the lore, which the players already are attracted to for this product anyways in Sorcery in general. Yeah. I think they were lowballing it. I had no connection or information. I didn't have exact numbers. I had never been given exact numbers. It wasn't my business. That was EC entirely. I knew they wanted to do this limited, but I have always said from the start, I would like to make sure that at least everyone that wants it within the sorcery community gets one box. At least get one. Yeah. I knew I would have the premium art-based art card deluxe packages, and I figured that would satisfy any of the high-end collectors. There's that balance between how do you make something highly collectible and limited, but yet at the same time at least satisfy what was necessary for the players.
Valuable yet accessible.
There,
perhaps
that's the answer. Yeah, and that's entirely not on I had no input in that. That's the company's decisions. I had mentioned to them from the day one that it would, I love the fact this is going to be a collectible and a premium product, but I would have loved to have it so that everyone can get at least. I don't want the market flooded with it. That was a concern because we've seen other products flood the market and devalue it, But I've never, ever said, oh, we need to keep this way down, make it super unavailable so that the thing can spike in ridiculous prices and all that stuff.
No. I also remember we had our first conversation with you, and you were very adamant that you would love to see this go to players as well in LGSs, and at least make sure that everyone who wants one actually has the opportunity to grab a box.
Yeah. I mean, and that's usually the model that typically companies do. I mean, I manufacture different types of products, from blankets, t-shirts, we do coins, we do Zippo lighters, all that stuff. And we have to anticipate where our demand is. And so we usually will produce about up to 75% of the total demand. So we play it a little conservative, which keeps that, collectability and the drive and the desire for it. Not everyone is going to get 2 or 3 copies. You'll be lucky if you get one. But if you got at least one, then it does maintain its collectible value, and it still also is visibly seen on the market. There is that threshold. If you pull, like we did actually made this mistake. We produced too little of our Zippo lighters, and then it became impossible for us to get them. And we had customers coming in every week asking for us at our different retail locations. I have galleries at the Renaissance fairs, and I was like, I'm sorry, I can't get it. It's too late. I've already ordered. That's what I ordered. So that can happen, when you're guessing. when you don't have the best information to determine whether or not something is going to be really big or not. So it is a challenging balancing act to do, but I think based on what we're seeing at Team Covenant, how much of this is they're just underestimating it personally and only choosing to take X amount of units. My understanding, I just saw an update, I think yesterday, there was a few people that had posted their purchase number, and one person was 2,380. So I don't know if the 1,000 units is really accurate, because we keep seeing new people saying, well, my number was this.
Yeah.
So it might be somewhere between 1 and 2,000 that Team Covenant might have sold. So the question is 2,000 units or 1,500 units, let's say, sold within only 2 hours indicative of an incredibly popular product or not enough purchased by them? And that's the mystery. I think from what I'm hearing from like my retailers and distributors, most are saying they've never seen anything that was so lowballed, that wasn't really promoted high. Not to mention, I think a lot of people are saying there was no like major announcement the day before.
No. We got an email saying pre-orders up now, and I was just doing dinner. I was like, yeah, that can wait. And then when I sat down after dinner to try to order, it was sold out. So it's like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So now you have to add that into the equation and realize that this wasn't even like something that was hyped up to expect to have this kind of massive demand. So if in an under-advertised, out of the blue, very impromptu announcement that only lasts 2.5 hours and you're sold out, that has to say that this product became very highly required or demanded, and everybody else just underestimated it.
Absolutely. But I think it's important to mention also, because I'm seeing a lot of comments that we do not have any special information from Aristiosa, but what we do know is that August 2nd will be the release date. There will be boxes available at several of these Crossroads events. So both at GenCon across the US, there's a European event where they're expected to have boxes as well. So if you're out there and you want boxes, please know that there are more opportunities coming in the future as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just one vendor. Yeah. I mean, granted, it's a substantial vendor. It's a premium vendor. So it's something to be thought about, which of course is now driving a little bit of a panic. That's like, well, I want to get in on it. And then we have heard that there are allocation limitations where, retailer will only get 10 boxes, which is one case. Yep. So yes, it is going to be challenging. Not everyone is going to get it. I would have preferred, obviously, if everyone could have gotten at least one box. How do you figure that out? I shouldn't say everyone. Let's say 80% of the demand. Satisfy 80%. I think we're going to fall a lot short of that, which will probably, based on basic, economics of law, people are going to turn these things around. There will be people who have bought them. They'll probably take the boxes even and sell those separately, because that's a beautiful box. But I do think we're going to see a secondary market boom for the cards, and they're going to, and then forget about the foils, because oh my Lord, the foils are randomized, right? That's my understanding.
Exactly.
If that's the case, then a collation order out of 13 with only a minimal amount of product that's out there in the industry that's already showing it's a lot less than anything else out there, that means those foils are going to be such a challenge to get a full set for. When people get them, I guarantee you, if they'll be buying boxes, this will actually, I think, be the most traded and swapped out collectible, where foils will be, look, man, I've got this, you need this, I need yours.
Yeah, let's trade. Yeah.
Which Absolutely. Is great.
Yeah, I love the trade idea. That's great. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just seeing if we have any more questions right now. Otherwise, I think we should move to talking about what is because everybody has heard that you personally are getting these 700 copies of the Dragonlord set. What are you intending to do with those? How will you be handling the sale, and what are the options?
Sure. Yeah, I'm actually going to be doing a Patreon live for my own Patreon members on Monday night to touch upon this in much more detail, but I'll give you some basics. So back when this whole thing started, when I first did a contract with Eric Curiosa, I said, look, guys, the only deal is I want to have some boxes, and then we were talking about pricing. It took a while to get the pricing down. And then once we figured that out, I knew my price, and I said, all right, here's how much I can afford to buy. I did not buy everything that I could have bought. I just bought what I could afford. So that's there's been a lot of speculation of people out there saying, well, if he bought 700 boxes, maybe there's only 7 to 10,000 boxes made.
Yeah.
No, I didn't do that. I didn't say I could buy up to, and this is in my contract, and I've said this to my Patreon members, and now it doesn't matter, So yeah, I could have bought up to 10%, which is pretty standard in a contract for a lot of companies I've worked with in the past. But I didn't buy all 10%. I don't know what the final number is. I really don't. I knew that that's all I could afford based on the wholesale, so that's what I did. And I thought it was also, listen, 700 drawings and paintings on the mini card, that's going to keep me busy for a long time.
That's keeping you busy.
Yeah. So right off the bat, from a year and a half ago, I started to tell my Patreon members, and I posted it on my Facebook and different Instagram and all that, saying, guys, I'm going to have a special edition version of this box. What I mean by that is they're going to be signed and numbered, and they're going to come with an art card. Originally, I was thinking of offering both without the card and with it, but I told everybody, I don't know what my demand's going to be for the art card. If all of a sudden I start getting a huge demand for the art card, I am not going to sell just the box signed and numbered. I'm going to hold on to that so it has the package. And inevitably, I kept telling, my Patreon number and on the Discord for over a year saying, if you want to get in on my special limited art card package deal, where I'm going to be drawing, I'll have different tiers. I'll have the very basic entry level, which I can show you.
Yes, please. We'd love to see it.
Yeah. They're really getting a whole separate product along with Dragonlord signed and numbered.
I'm just going to put you in solo so we can really see that nicely.
Destiny, would you grab the camera so we can get a close-up of it?
Oh, no, I'm taking over again. All right. Now, before, I'm not going to put this on the back camera because I don't want to.
Yeah, wait till we get it. Wait till.
Everybody.
Right.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, we all set?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna do this. How do they look right now?
Yes, this is a good
There
view.
we go.
Okay, so these are from, it's called the Artist Ed Beer Jr. Series 1. These, about 2019, I produced 200 copies of each card as a proof for a promotion to see if we could do a fantasy art card set. There wasn't enough demand to go mass market or to go on an offset press. So I just did the proofs. And I've held on to these things. We sold a few of the sets so that we can't make complete sets anymore. These are not available. We're not producing them ever again. But these were the examples of some of the cool art that was on these proof cards. And I've had these just sitting in a protective case all this time.
I know her.
Yeah, you do know her. And so I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I would draw on the back of these cards, these proofs, and include it in part of the package of the deluxe set. So I have 30 different designs that people are going to get. So here's some more, for instance. Now, this is an example of one of the actual finished artist proof fantasy art series cards with the drawings on the back. That's a really quick example. It's a very quick drawing. Now, the next one, this is on the Arcane Sorcerer. We have one that's a little bit more elaborate. And you can see it's got a little more ink and shadowing on it. Then we have this one. Now you see massive amounts of shadowing, pencil graphite work. This is a much more involved piece. This will be like a top tier of the black and white versions. There we have a little bit quicker of a job. This is just basically a bust and head shot. And same thing with that.
They are so cool.
Let's see what this one. Oh, and then we've got this one. Now that's an elaborate piece.
Yeah, nice.
A frog wizard.
A frog.
Show to Frogman Dan.
Actually, Dan the Frogman has been drooling over that.
Yeah,
So-
for sure.
Yeah, we might have to make some miracle arrangement for Dan.
Dan needs it, and he
Yeah.
will love it.
Yeah. And then,
No other individual on earth will treasure it in the same way. That's for sure.
yeah.
Yes.
So- and then we have something like this. So it's a, again,
stunning.
Yeah.
a very delicate graphite piece. So that's the black and whites. I don't have any physical examples of my fully painted ones because anytime I do them, they go to the customer, These are the ones that I've done a little bit ahead of time so that I had some ready to go. But that gives you an example of the different varieties of complexity that I'm offering in the black and whites. I'm going to reduce it down to 2 tiers. A kind of entry simple one, and my simple ones are not that. You saw them. They're not simple, but they're not as elaborate as that frog wizard or that undead lich king, So I'll have 2 tiers and 2 price points for that. And then I'll have probably 2 tiers for the painted ones that are just single figure, and then the other is full-blown background, everything in fully painted work. So that is what we're going to talk about on Monday for price point to my Patreon members. And as of right now, because of the incredible demand for this product, and it crossed right over into the art stuff. It's amazing to me after a year and a half of talking about my deluxe package and the art cards that only now are people going, I didn't know you were doing a Patreon. I'm like, 2 years I've advertised it. You could have been watching all of these paintings being done live, you know. But they're now they're finding it, and now they're going, oh man, I got to have that art card. The other thing too is if you go to my website, edbeardjr.com, you can see a page that says, I think it's artist proof card drawings, right? Is that what it is? And that just shows you typical drawing, and like much of this style here, it actually shows the full painted too, and it will give you pricing. Yeah. And I do command very top dollar for that work. I typically, I mean, I do it a lot of times on my Patreon. I think I've done like 3 or 4 this year. I just did 2 Pokemon. I did the Dragonite and the Blastoise, fully painted. That was for a collector out of Japan. I get $1,500 to $2,000 for these paintings, you know. Black and whites, they start typically around $400 and go up to, I think, 1,000. Is that what we, 1,200?
Yep.
So, and I've been doing that for 5 years. That's my normal price. So I do get a premium. I get top dollar on my pieces. So I'm going to offer my Patreon members who've been with me all this time, and those that, you know, purchase a year membership, the ability to get those at a much better price for these particular drawings. So like where we have, to give you an example, this, like the Frog Wizard. The Frog Wizard would typically be a $600 piece. I'm probably going to offer it for somewhere around $350. So they're going to get like almost, they're probably 35 to 40% off what my normal listed prices are on my website. So that's another perk. And I started talking about those things to my Patreon members about a month ago. And that's when the orders started coming in. That's when everyone was like, when can I buy? When can I buy?
Yeah.
And I'm up to about 200 commissions so far. Just, you know, since this whole thing began a year and a half ago. But in the last 2 days, I think we've gotten another 40 commissions. So that's pretty much what's happening. People know that they know the value of my art cards. They've seen those artist proofs being sold, you know, on different retail markets after someone have purchased it from me, you know, 10, 15, 20 years ago, and then they resell it. Then you have to add the value, the fact that it's on a very limited, only 200 prints were ever made of each of these cards. So that is another factor. It's, you know, these aren't just blank cards. This is actually a product that's strictly associated with me. Then you have the fact that it's a limited edition box. Now, people have said to me, well, what portion of the money that I'm paying on the package is allocated to the limited edition signed in a box? So the boxes we know is retailing at $60. And I'm looking at, okay, I'm taking this box, I'm taking the shrink wrap off. I have to sit down, sign, and number. It's careful. I have to take my time with it, and then I have to reshrink it.
Yeah.
So I typically get, whenever I do a signing, a minimum of $10 per signing for charities, right? Something as premium as this, and the fact that there's only 700 that will ever exist, I figured, well, let me throw $15 on it. So the total I would have perceived, though I'm not selling them this way at this time, is $85. I figure it's an $85 value to get the limited to only 700 ever signed on the outside of the box and numbered from me. So that's a $25 add-on premium that I'm putting on my boxes for the signing and numbering. It's just that you can't just get those, and I'm not going to offer them up when I still have such demand for the art card versions.
Absolutely. That's also a great way to get more out there and, you know, make it even more collectible and sort of satisfy those of your collectors who really want that premium product.
Yeah, and at a price they've not been able to get for decades, you know. So
exactly.
This is something that I'm trying to do to support all of these new collectors of mine over the last 2 years who started following me when they started doing sorcery. I don't sign through the mail, so I stopped doing that, oh God, probably 15 years ago. So I don't sign Magic or any cards through the mail. I only sign when I'm at locations that I have, like my Ohio or my Michigan Renaissance Festival and Tennessee. And then I'm very limited elsewhere. I do go do a couple of automotive shows like next week, and only time I sign is usually for charity. So the other offering that I want to mention that no one knows about, that we were talking about it with our Patreon members a couple of weeks back, I want to offer to these people, because I don't sign in the mail, and many of them will never get my signature on these cards. I'm going to be opening the box to sign the outside of the box anyways. If they want me to sign their cards, that's normally, 14 cards, that's going to be $140 value anywhere that I would ever sign. they can get it for free. So I'm going
That's
to agree.
amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to agree to sign every single card if they want it. Now, some people say, Ed, I don't want you touching the cards. I want to be the first to see it. And then in that case, I won't even open the box. I'll just take the shrink wrap off, sign it, reshrink it, and there it goes. But I will offer that only to my sorcery collectors. I have to cater to these people because, man, they are the ones who have been supporting me for the last 2 years. The sorcery players and collectors, and when I say that, I mean the ones that have a tremendous art enthusiasm, love the art, as well as the gameplay.
Yeah.
Those people are more supportive of artists than any other game I've ever worked for, ever. Maybe I'd have to go back to 94 when the very first set, my Legends set, then when I did artwork for the Elder Dragons for Legends. Yeah. I can remember briefly that back then at GenCon where the average young person was coming up, was definitely enthusiastic and fantasy and loved the art and all that. But that quickly, the whole game became quickly tournament driven only, and it was $10,000 prizes, and the art became a much more secondary issue. And then it didn't matter how it was done. Oh, we don't care if it's digital. We don't care half the time if it's AI. And where with this game, the people are already nurtured into wanting collectible art and appreciating it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So to me, that is worth at this stage in my late in my life here, almost in retirement age. I just feel like I want to make something special, and I want to do this not just the art, like you say, to get as much of my collectible card art out there. It's been 15 years, and be able to let them do it at a better price than they would normally get from me anywhere else. And there's always going to be a point where not everyone can get everything they want. So I wanted to address that because I've seen, unfortunately, a lot of really horribly hateful posts that have been made characterizing me as a money grabber, grifting, all this other stuff. And they don't understand because they're not comprehending it, but I'm going to clarify it right now. When someone joins my Patreon, when I said, and I say this very clearly, they get an opportunity to get the box and the package they want. I am not going to just randomly allocate certain numbers for how many will be painted, how many will be this level of tier of complexity of artwork, how much will be the lowest one. I'm going to base that on demand, but I'm also going to have to cut it off. So imagine if out of these 700, or in this case 600, because I'm going to hold to 100 for myself, but if 600 of them get, most of the commissions are starting to come in at the highest tiers of, fully painted, well, then I'm going to allocate more sets for that. Which means that someone joined my Patreon thinking they could buy the lower level tier, and I have to tell them no, well, then they're not going to get that package. So legally, I had to be honest and upfront and say, not everyone is going to get what they want, even if they are a member of my Patreon for even 2 years. I have to be prioritized. I'm going to always support the people who have been with me the longest, who have paid and have supported me financially the most, and then go down from there. I do not want anyone joining my Patreon. I can't emphasize this enough. I don't want anyone joining my Patreon just to get this box so they can flip it, so they can either flip it or play the cards. If you want to play the cards and you're not into the art, do not buy it from me. Just hunt it down online, wait till your LGS gets it, and buy it there. The only reason anyone should be coming and joining my Patreon is because I'm going to entertain the heck out of you, because I have hundreds of hours a month worth of artwork. My kids are all involved. You ask anyone on my Patreon, is it worth it to join Ed Beard's Patreon? And they will literally tell you, this guy rocks. It's like the most fun, entertaining. He's on for 3 hours. He's drawing everything. He lets you guys interact.
They get to be part of the process of the painting as well. There's moments where you say, okay, guys, so for this dragon, what color wings do you think? And we'll poll the audience. So there's people that they see our prints in the shops and they go, oh my gosh, I remember that. I had a part and a say in what wing color that was. That was, an exciting thing for people. So you really become like part of the clan. We call you guys the Dragonlord clan, and we need
Dragonlord clan. That's great.
And Destiny, we're getting a lot of people in chat saying that there is no doubt that your live streams are super interactive, super entertaining, and people are so happy that they have joined it.
And also a request to see the Dragonland one more time.
Yes, we have Rain in the comments saying, can Destiny kindly show us the beautiful dragon van again?
Oh, yeah.
I bet that van is turning heads when you come driving down the street.
Oh my gosh, we cannot leave
Have you caused accidents driving it?
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. We have had so many people. We've had some people that I literally have to yell out the window to please pay attention to driving because they're getting their phones out. No, don't get me crashed.
If you want to come in on an angle, you should be able to see, without too much, and then you can go down.
And Wayne is very excited. He is saying things that I cannot say on YouTube, but it happened.
I love it.
Oh, the detailing is just extraordinary.
Too. In the flame suit, it's gold. There's all kinds of. So it's one of those things, people look at. They take one look around, and I'm like, you got to take another glance through because you've missed a lot. And they look through, and they're like, there's hidden objects, there's hidden dragons and faces, and it's just.
If you go up on the stairs, you get a good shot from all the way down.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that's.
It is. We have Rain saying if anyone is considering selling that van.
Oh no!
Even
Nope, it goes to me.
even the inside is fully painted.
The interior is decorated.
The interior as well.
All hand painted. These are the step ups when you enter. That's all hand painted.
Oh, the cover, the dash cover is painted. The CB is painted. My passenger side is all painted.
Let's show the engine.
Insane thing I've ever seen.
That's amazing.
Come over here.
All right.
So the whole entire Dragonlord on the hood here, the big main dragon, and then up top is the actual Dragonlord. That's where he first appeared. There he is.
But that's very cool.
The engine compartment is also painted. We have our dragon working on his engine. And over here, it says, a dragon's work is never done. That's because I'm working on a Dodge motor and I'm always having to repair it. So there you go.
Oh, that's amazing. People are absolutely freaking out in the comments.
So we're going to try our best to make sure this is ready. We're test driving it this week to go to Syracuse, New York, which is a 5-hour drive. But we are planning on driving this all the way to GenCon, and we're going to film the whole trip. So that's a 20-hour drive for us. So it's going to be quite a to drive.
Oh yeah.
But I do want to wrap them. Just say, so right now I only have 200 members. I've got 600 available boxes, which will be packages, right? So that means there's 400 left to go. I'm afraid to speculate that I'm not going to have all of a sudden an additional 400 members. But the way we're going, we're getting like 40 members a day. So I know what they're doing. I've got all these people joining because they can't get the boxes and they want the boxes. However, I'm very pleased to say, Destiny and I just looked at all our communications this morning from all our new members. They are all saying the same thing. They're going, I really wish we had known this Patreon existed before. We took a look at all your posts and stuff, because I have posts within the Patreon and also videos you can watch. And they're like, this looks wicked cool. So we're very happy to join it, whether we get the box or not, kind of thing. But
absolutely
there's no reason to believe you're not right now. I have no reason to believe that everyone isn't going to get a box. I just have to legally say, what happens, if I'm on the road and a month and a half from now, we hit 600 member, then I'll be out, right? Because anybody joining after that. I just have to, I don't want to put the wrong impression in people's mind, but I also have to be careful to say, if you came and said, oh, I'd love to have that, the tier number 1 option, we may run out of those spots, and then you're stuck buying the next version up, or the reverse. You may want a painted version, which is a more expensive brand, but geez, I may not be able to do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of hours ahead of you just painting all those things and drawing and so on. I have a quick question from Mateo. He's saying, how many hours went into painting the van? So
I drew everything out on paper first, every single image. Can you walk around the other side?
Yeah.
Let's go around the other side. So we had 250 hours in drawings, and then another 400 hours in actual paint on the vehicle itself. 600, so basically 650 hours.
There's a little bit of humor on the back doors.
Yeah, this is See No Evil, because he's got a band over his eyes. Hear No Evil.
Hear No Evil, yeah.
And Speak No Evil.
They're so cute.
If you come from here, it should be pretty good.
Yeah.
I want that as a t-shirt.
Yeah, that would actually be epic.
So here we have a little bit later on in the storyline in the world of the Dragonlord, when the evolution of sorcery and wizards, where they started to corrupt the dragons, they had control over them through crystals. And that's what's happening in this scene. This dragon is under the control of the sinister sorcerer.
Essentially known as the Sick Wizard.
The Sick Wizard, yes. And also, it goes through time.
There.
Yeah.
So this is an evolution from fire dragons to ice to water. Here we have the ice
I was
dragon.
like, that resembles some sort of merfolk dragon, but yeah,
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
And then, yes, this is the ice side of the vehicle. So interior doors are painted, and if you look inside, you'll see.
Step up.
Yep, and then there's the blue seat representing the
Blue
ice,
seat.
red for the fire.
Red seat. Oh, and the skull.
wow.
This thing is a rolling piece of artwork. It really
is. It really is.
This was built in 2000. It was a year 2000 van. I bought it new. It was green, just a cargo van.
Oh, no.
We are missing Ed. Hopefully he will be joining us right back.
Technical problems.
Yes, it does happen. And maybe that was because Disney is filming. You might very quickly accidentally just turn it on. But I think Ed will be back any minute now.
But quite the scary, going from that gorgeous car to...
We are partners for the shock. Now suddenly you're just stuck with us instead of Ed's beautiful van. But guys, maybe spend the time to just write in the chat if you have any questions. We will be seeing Ed sign the really cool first numbered version of the Dragonlord box and a lot more. So feel free. Yes, and Ed is saying that they are going to reconnect back to us. Oh, Shibi, I like where you're going with this. Got to be careful with mirror gloss in case we see something that we're not supposed to see.
So, guys, we might just want to scrutinize this video afterwards.
Yes, we will have to. Stephanie, I will be sure to ask Ed when they get back to us what the time frame is looking like. We had the pleasure of discussing the book with Ed, and they are attempting to re-enter the studio. We look forward to. Yes, they're coming back to us, guys. They have a
Yay!
They are back again.
We're back.
Okay.
But maybe we'll just take the question from Stephanie. Then.
Yes, we have a few questions. He said to people maybe they could ask questions in the meantime.
Yes.
So what is the time frame? Do we have an update on this beautiful, amazing Dragonlord book that you have talked about previous?
All right, let me
Yes.
put it back up there.
Yeah, go ahead. Put it back up there. Yes. So at this, there was a delay in getting me the actual high-res files from Eric. It took a couple of months. Is that blurry for some reason? No, it's okay. It took a couple of months, and so because of that, my printer said, Ed, if we don't go on press by, I think he said June, it was mid-June, then we're not going to be able to get this book on until the end of the year. So unfortunately, that deadline was missed, so I kind of had no choice but to push this. So at this time, we're looking at probably closer to November, December. It's going to be a Christmas thing, but the book is almost completely done. I have received, obviously, the files, but that was the reason I wasn't able to have the book done in time. My printer hit a very narrow window of opportunity, and I'm doing this here in Pennsylvania, 100% in this country, doing it here. I'm working with the same gentleman in the printing company that I've worked with for 20 years who has done all my art prints. So I know I'm going to be able to be on press and do the whole thing. I originally was hoping to have it ready for GenCon, but they were like, no way. So it will be coming soon. But I do have a biographical synopsis of each of the characters, and I will be bringing that with me to GenCon. So I'm looking at printing it out. So it's going to be a nice little leaflet brochure type thing.
Yeah. And Ed, just recently, the Sorcery team, they posted the schedule. So both you and Jeff Menges will actually be at GenCon. What are you hoping to experience at GenCon yourself? Just excited to see Dragonlord, or do you have anything else that you're hoping to do while you're there?
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and we're getting a little bit of a break, both Jeff and I, to get away from the table, because I have Ultra Pro. I've got to be over there for some kind of meet and greets, because we do all my playmats with them. I have 7 designs with them. There's another company that does game tables, high-end game tables. I think it's called Theory or Game Theory or something like that. But anyways, they're going to be there with, guess what? The game table with the Dragonlord's lair printed right on it.
Whoa!
Okay, that sounds cool.
Yeah, so that's going to be, I think it's called Game Theory, but they're very expensive game tables, like $2,500 to $4,000 US. So these are high-end game tables. So that's kind of cool. Yep. Then Goliath Coins, the company that did the coins, which...
the coins!
Yeah. Speaking of Kairos the Archivist, Here we have.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, this is just a beautiful coin. There's the back. The backs of the coins are my stock image of the Odin wizard.
Yes, with the raven
And
and everything.
these are heavy. These are 6
heavy.
ounces. Yeah, 6 ounces. Very thick, beautiful medallion coins.
More like medallions.
Yeah, they're super
Yeah,
detailed.
absolutely.
And they come with this nice little clear acrylic stand. So but this company will also be there. And so I only had about 25 of these left. So I'll be there. And then my understanding is there's 2 other companies that I'm waiting on the schedule to meet. So also I get an interview with TCG Player that's going to be happening.
Oh, nice.
We just don't know what time that's going to be. So here's what I'm thinking. I haven't been to GenCon since 2011 or 12, I believe. And so I've already getting emails from people that have said, "Hey man, I heard you're going to GenCon. What is this all about?" You know, they were my game. They're from Wisconsin in the Midwest, a little bit further west than I normally go. And so they haven't seen me in years. And they're all getting geared up to bring in their classic Magic the Gathering cards and all that stuff. And then obviously sorcery players, this is going to be the thing. They've got the big tournaments going on there. I mentioned this to Chase, and I'm going to do it. So the playmat that I'm going to show you guys in a few seconds, I'm going to offer a special discount to all of the tournament players that have registered to play. So that's something. And also I'm going to be giving away one of them for a prize, I think, as well as some art prints. So I know that's going to happen. The biggest thing that Jeff and I are going to have to deal with is we're going to feel like for the brief time we're together, for the 2 hours in the mornings and afternoon, we're going to be a sardine in a can because it's a 6-foot table and we're going to be like this trying to make it happen. I mean, they had a very minimal, 10-foot booth, so there's only so much they can do. Once we switch out, at least, each of us will have 6 foot of space, so we'll be able to work a little better. But it is going to be insane. In the morning, when it first, oh my God, that Thursday morning, I know that GenCon, that sorcery booth is going to get attacked.
Yeah, completely. The line will be out of control.
Yeah. And then as fast as they'll open it, knowing that I'm not normally available to sign, they're going to be going, please. And so I'm going to be getting 14 cards. Oh, it's going to be crazy. So I expect total awesome pandemonium with a great positive energy. Jeff and I go back way back. I love Jeff. He's just a great guy. I've worked with him on his own projects. He had a book, the 20th anniversary of, I think it was called The Gathering, and I was in his book there. So, he's just a great guy, very likable. He will have, of course, some new pieces reveal for Gothic, so that's going to be cool. That's going to draw attention. I mean, man, it's going to be.
The boss is going to be amazing. Absolutely. I have Jesper, and he's saying that it seems like if there is only domestic shipping on Patreon, are there any possibilities for non-US people to get your Dragonlord set with art as well? If you're outside the US.
The Patreon? No, I'm not going to sell this to let me be clear. I know that Patreon has recently given the ability to have, sell things through Patreon. Mm-hmm. I'm not selling this on their platform. This will be available. Basically, what I'm going to do for my Patreon members, I'm giving them a very specific link that goes directly to PayPal. Mm-hmm. And I absolutely am shipping international. Oh, yeah. The only thing I require, I'm glad you mentioned that because I think I'm going to put a post on our website to clarify that. Yeah. I'm glad I didn't even think of that. So it's definitely international. The only thing I'm going to do because of tariffs and taxes, once I drop that package off into the courier's possession, I need a liability release from anybody that buys. In other words, I can't be responsible what happens after that, especially the way things are these days. So I'm good. I want my international community to get my stuff. Speaking of which, I have a couple of. What does DKK represent?
That is Danish. That's where we're from. Danish krone.
Okay, then. Well, there's a big distributor that handles about 160 accounts in your area who just reached out to me and said, we would like to start being able to offer, everything from your sorcery art prints to whatever you've got here. And I'm like, so we're going to do that. We're going to make that happen. So that's how I'm starting to do things to help get stuff into the international markets because of this darn tariff stuff. It was already tough enough. I mean,
Oh yes.
Yeah, for sure.
So we hope that's my goal is to get as many different locations where I can offer these folks a wholesale price. They can get my product, get it there, and then distribute it to all of the different collectors. And that gentleman ordered quite a bit.
Yes.
That was I think like
thank very much.
30 prints, 30 different titles and prints and art. I mean, they went beyond just the sorcery. They did. So they're going to have a lot of cool stuff for their collectors. Not to mention playmats. I have playmats.
Yeah. And would it be a great opportunity now to maybe show the playmat if you are ready to do so?
Yes, let's do it.
Yes, a lot of people are asking about it.
Okay.
Let's see.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
This is Ultra Pro, and it's actually got it has a silver satin thread in it, and it literally looks like a foil. I don't know if you can see the effect that's happening.
You can see it has that like a bit of shine to it.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow.
So this came out beautiful. It does have the grid. I don't know if I can.
Yeah.
Can you see the grid lines?
Yep.
You can see them.
But very, they're very faint, not to take up too much focus. I like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a challenge. I didn't want to destroy the art, but I knew that the sorcery players love the grid. They need the grid. So it has the grid. It also has the over here. It has the 2 card deck area locations, and it also has the discard. So it has everything you need. It's from what the typical single players do. But yeah. So this is the actual proof that just came in. And the Dragonlord this Dragonlord's lair was so perfect for the layout because of the horizontal format.
And people are already asking, will you have only 1 player, or will there also be a 2-player option? And can you get it outside of GenCon? People are super psyched.
Yes. So you are going to be able to buy this right off my website. And although my website is not set up for international, all they got to do is email me and say, hey, Ed, I'm out of the country. I'd love this playmat. How do we do it? And then I'll just set it up. All we do is we go on to our shipper, which is generally UPS, and then run it and find out what exactly it costs, and we charge exactly what it costs. And then it's the same release of liability, and then I ship it in the mail. So don't be afraid that my store is not set up for international. It couldn't be. That's just the way Wix works. So
me and Jens are looking at each other and nodding and thinking we are going to need that playmat for sure.
Yeah, this really did come out beautiful. We also have the non-grid version for all the other players, because there's a lot of Magic players that just love this image, and they just thought it was a cool playmat, so they're going to be getting the non-grid. So I have a grid version and a non-grid version.
Nice.
So that's the playmat. So that's the first to see it. I think we typically sell our playmats from between 40 and 50, but I think I'm going to keep that at $40. So it's going to be it'll be autographed. Everybody gets an autographed playmat, so that's kind of cool.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, let me go quickly to the other stuff. So some of the stuff I'm going to have at GenCon, I'm only revealing the ones that I can, obviously, but these there is your sorcery. There's the Dragonlord himself. That's the shrine of the Dragonlord. Here we have Kairos, and the Ignis Rex. Oh, already showed you that one. And then we have the Cradle of Ethereum. So these are all autographed on the back by me. Oh. And this is a nice little inexpensive product that you can pick up at GenCon as well. And these will be souvenir. And they're souvenir, and they're available on my website as well. Then key is diversify, right? Always have a wild variety of things. Here's the Zippo. And there is the Ignis Rex Zippo.
Oh, that's beautiful on there.
Yep. So these just came in. So we are now restocked, and then Celestis.
Oh, wow.
So we have the blue flame and the red.
The flame. So
all right. I think it may be time to go ahead and break open the first box ever.
Absolutely.
And sign and number it out of number 1. I'll have Destiny grab the phone.
We have almost 70 people with us who are very, very ready to see this epic historical sorcery moment.
Awesome.
Your phone's ready to take a picture of the screen.
Yes, as we also mentioned, we're not going to show any of the cards. That is for the official release, but Ed is going to open the box. He's going to number the first box ever.
Very exciting.
All right, Destiny. Come on over here. So here we have the case of 10. Well, let's see. I think we'll do the very first one at the very end. Why not? That's assuming.
Did somebody say the signing of the first box?
Is that the voice of Omnivoice Dustin Beard himself?
Hello.
Hello.
We actually just talked a little bit about how you just got through with a 600-line project that can't be talked about, but that is a major deal on Steam
Yes.
and all that. Yeah.
Yes.
And you can actually hear some of his narrations in some of the time lapses, I believe, for Dragonlord as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Dustin was one of the co-hosts along with my wife and Destiny. But when Dustin was on, he would do all kinds of voices, as well as the you were the consult for the mythologies and the histories.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
There's a couple of pieces. Well, one piece in particular that, of course, we can't say anything about, but I am
Yes.
very excited.
Oh,
for because I had
guys.
a lot of input on it.
One of the pieces that was done for this set. It's really his concept idea, right?
It was
This
an idea I had for years, and then when the topics were brought up about what needed to be done, and he was mentioning it to me, I just said, "Oh no, now's the time.
Yeah.
Now's the time.
So-
there's no better time for this."
And he has he has a costume for that actual. He's role playing that character.
Oh yeah.
When we go to the Renaissance fairs, he will be that character.
I will be
We
like
will
like
need
an acolyte.
pictures of this
Oh,
for
yes.
sure.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
And this is going to be one of those characters that no one expects. It's actually a character that I think I might have been the first to ever do it. I mean,
I've not seen anything like it.
no.
I
And
think it is.
however, since then we've seen an attempt at it, right? With another, was that
I don't remember.
I can't remember which online game it was, but there was one of the games were trying to do these kinds of things, but not to the extent that I did it.
I've never seen anything with that kind of.
Very exciting.
It's not what you
Content.
expect
Yes.
at all.
Ooh.
All right, guys. So
All
here it
right.
is. I am now
Yes.
peeling the shrink wrap off.
Exciting.
Dustin, would you be able to get your camera, take a couple of photos?
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
We got this. We got this.
The temptation is so overwhelming.
Do not open the box. Do not.
Resist.
Do not get in.
Resistance is futile. No,
Oh,
no, I won't.
You
I
shall
promise.
be assimilated.
I have promised now. I have promised to all of you folks, my son and my daughter are going to make sure of it.
Yep.
When we get to GenCon, that'll be when it happens, and it will be when the bell hits. I'm not going to do it beforehand. We're going to do it when everybody else technically has that
all
opportunity.
right, guys. Here
Okay,
it goes.
here we go.
Okay.
Can you see it?
I'm gonna have to zoom in a little bit, so I might be.
I got you.
What's happening?
Number 1 of 700. Now, I'll show you with the light.
Nice. Oh, that looks epic with the silver.
Yes.
All right,
And
so there you
someone
go.
is saying witness. Exactly.
It has started.
It has started.
1 of
Has
700.
started.
This will go in our little protection area. This will be in our little collection.
Yep.
And then starting with number 2, we'll start doing the artwork. So it's going to be quite. And by the way, all the Patreons that I'll be doing in the future will be. I've got a big painting to do actually for an entirely different product, but you guys may know of it. It's I have a license for Dritz and Artemis, the Battle in the Crystal Shard Tower painting. So that is a very popular product of the Dark Elf series.
Yeah.
So that is a painting I'm working on right now for a collector, and that'll be something I do. But in between that, or like during the beginning of an episode, I will be working on the cards. So everyone who is my Patreon member will literally be able to see and have a documented, filmed recording of me doing their art card. And that's the other great thing about my Patreon.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me put this over here. But yeah, so just so there's one other thing I want to mention, very important that people know. If you're on my Patreon and you want to purchase one of the level packages of the signed and numbered 700 edition, you will not have to wait for me to get to the queue of your card. I thought about that the other day and I was like, my God, let's say even 400 drawings and paintings.
Yeah.
That's well over a year, you know? So I'm not going to be holding on to their signed and numbered box. As soon as I sign and number the boxes, which is what I'm going to do first, I'm going to go in and sit down and sign all the boxes. Then I'm going to have them shrink wrapped, and which we do here. And then they're going to get mailed out to those collectors. So they won't be waiting a year or waiting until their art card gets done.
Absolutely.
Their art card will be on a queue schedule, and then they'll kind of know when it's going to be. And then once that's done, it'll be just shipped separately. So just to reassure people, because that was one of the big questions. It was like, man, it might be a year before I get my box, you know? But no, that's not going to happen. We're absolutely, as soon as, it'll take me $700, probably take me 3 or 4 days to sign all those boxes. And then the shrink wrapping and the packaging, it's probably going to be a couple of weeks. So we're on the road from starting next week. We go right from Syracuse directly to GenCon, then from GenCon to Michigan to open up our Renaissance Fair there, then right from there to Ohio. We won't actually get back here to my house in the studio to sign a number of those boxes until about September 6th. So, and then so it'll probably take a week. So I'm saying mid to the 3rd week of September is when everyone that ordered will be able to get their boxes from me. So that's just to give everybody an idea on the
time frame. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep.
There are a lot of people that have been asking this question. Ed, will we get to see more of your artwork in Sorcery outside of the Dragonlord set?
Okay, so, well, I can't speak to outside. There was a couple of times that I had a piece of artwork that was going to be really cool for Arthurian.
Put it back on here.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Angle kind of,
Yeah, go ahead.
They're seeing the rest of.
Yeah, no problem.
They're seeing the rest of the garage. We want you guys to see the cool.
Okay.
Now you can see all the cool stuff in the background.
Yeah, so back when Arthurian Legends was still being commissioned, I had just completed a really cool Dark Wizard, an Odin Wizard. And it would have been great for Merlin, you know? So I had sent that over to Eric to look at, and it was close. He was like thinking, oh, maybe it'll be a curio, maybe we could do something like that. Then there was a couple of other pieces, but because these paintings were not done with the card in mind, a lot of the really good artwork was being hidden behind the box. So it wasn't formatted very well for the game. So I then started to think. Again, from the beginning, you know, obviously I'm going to be biased to the fact that I know how much work has been put into these pieces. I knew they were going to be dynamic. And I just knew with the storyline and everything that there would be a huge rush to buy this product just because I knew the audience, you know, the sorcery audience was so art friendly. And so I said, this is going to be a huge product, guys. I think everyone's underestimating it. So I had prepared for Eric, and I actually sent them over, I think it's 12 or 14 more cards, meaning I had in the storyline. Because I've done, the story was from 2005 to 2012. I've had, over the years, I've done characters that are in this story. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool to have, you know, Dragonlord 2, and here we have an additional set, you know, with and the art's already done. So I took because in order for me to work with Eric and do these layouts, I had to have the templates for the cards, you know. So I laid all this new art out into the cards as if it was basically a mock-up. And I sent them over, and I even said to him, I said, if you want to expand this set from 13 cards to, you know, 26 or whatever, go for it. But he was like, I would have taken you up on it, but it's just too much going on. He was in Gothic. He was heavily into the art directing for that. So he just couldn't do it. So what I'm saying officially here is, I think with the demand of this product, it's pretty clear they want it. And they probably would love to have a set 2, which is a continuation of the storyline. And all that art is already done. So,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
People are getting very excited for Dragonlord Part 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen.
Anything.
No.
Let's just clarify that. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it will happen. But if Eric called me up and said, "Hey Ed, let's do the second part," yeah, absolutely, let's do it.
Yeah, rock and roll.
Yeah, and then that just means I have another, I don't know, whatever 700 boxes that I'm going to have to illustrate for that. It's going to be crazy. But yeah, so that answers that question. Are there any other questions of interest, guys, that I might have missed? Is there anything that I didn't talk about that I was supposed to talk about?
Maybe something about the music that Destiny did for the characters in the Dragonlord set.
All right.
I'm sorry, what was that, Jen?
Maybe something about the music that Destiny did for the Dragonlord.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, that's what it was. So Destiny, who is a musician, she was the lead vocalist for Midnight Syndicate. You may want to look them up. They've been around for about 35 years. They were the premier worldwide for haunted, you know, soundtracks and ethereal music, not the screams and hollers things. It's mostly it's very operatic and theatrical music. But they had never had anyone do vocals and do vocal arrangements to their music. And so when Destiny was very young, she went over to them and said, you know, I can do some cool wording and vocal arrangements and lyrics and whatnot. And so that's what she did. And she did 2 albums with them. They really did very well. What did you do with Sam Haines last year? Didn't you have the #1 Halloween?
We did.
Yeah.
Yes.
The most downloaded on Bandcamp for October of last year.
Yep.
Worldwide.
Worldwide,
cool.
yeah.
That was very cool. Yes.
Yeah. So if you check
exciting.
check her website out, it's Destiny Beard Music, isn't it? Or is it Destiny Beard?
It's just destinybeard.com
Okay.
with an I.
Yeah.
Destiny with
Yeah, Destiny is DESTINI instead of a Y. Beard.com. You can get a chance to listen to her music. She was operatically trained. She's a pianist. She just released a whole piano album. But yes, she did create the soundtracks to every one of the paintings that I did. And what was cool is, so I would tell her this is the painting we were going to do ahead. And, you know, we'd show the sketch. She would watch what the sketch was done. She'd get some ideas from the sketch. And then she would be in her studio doing the recording and doing the sound effects. Oh my God, they were most epic, like cinematic soundtracks. And they totally captured the feel of each painting. They're literally done specifically for the paintings. It's like you're sitting, when you look at the art and you hear the music, like you're in a movie.
Yeah.
So that's what she did.
They actually used a couple of them for the time lapse for Kairos.
Yeah,
so some of that music was already in there. One of them was the theme for Kairos himself, and then there were a couple others that were for, I think one for Dragonlord and for the Lair. So it's been exciting to do that. But,
Kairos, that thing that EC put up on their site, I think it's still there.
Yeah.
It's a time lapse.
Background music there.
Yeah, that's her music.
That's what I did. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's amazing, Destiny. That's really good.
Thank you.
And you know what's fun about it? Do you have it available on Bandcamp, those soundtracks? Or are you going to?
I'm going to upload all of them for the release.
Okay.
So what people can do is they can get it off of my Bandcamp, and while you're playing with all of the cards, you can hear the sounds that go along.
So what is your Bandcamp?
So it's bandcamp.com/Destiny Beard Music.
So bandcamp.com /Destiny
But if they also go to my
Music.
website, there's a direct link on there too.
Okay.
For all of my music.
Cool.
You might, I don't know if you can put it in the chat. Maybe you can just type in, not put the .com. Yeah.
That's right.
She'll put it in the chat under my name.
Yeah,
But
perfect.
thank you for asking, Jens. I knew there was something like,
thank
what?
you.
Oh, it's my daughter's music. Yeah. I mean, we're really blessed. I mean, we've got my daughter who's a musician and vocalist for singing. My son who's a voice actor, also like a plethora of knowledge of history and cool concepts. And he keeps me connected with the younger audiences of what they like in gameplay and whatnot. His background is as a YouTuber. He did a lot of machinima, and he also did voices for little kind of like merge commercials with Warframe. And that was a pretty successful online game. And now is doing independent projects for different game companies. And that's the big one he just did, the 600 lines. So I've got a super talented, also he does the editing. That time lapse that you saw, that was all my son. So he took hundreds of hours worth of live painting at real time and condenses it down, edits it out. So I have a full crew here. And my wife, she keeps me in line. You know, she's the most important part.
That's also very important.
Maybe the most important task.
Keeping you grounded and stuff like that.
We're just gonna pop in back here. Guys, please do leave your comment here in the comment section. If you have any more questions for Ed, stuff you want to have a second look at, please do leave a comment there. Then we can ask it again.
Yes.
Very cool.
There is one other thing I need to show. This is another first for the world review.
Ooh.
I know it's the one I accidentally almost keep
Yeah,
spoiling.
She keeps spoiling. So I'm gonna flip. Actually, would you come over and flip the camera? Because I'm gonna.
Now I'll officially spoil.
Yeah. So
Now we can do it. Nice.
So the popularity of both Ignis Rex, the fire dragon, but also Celestis inspired us to go to our loom manufacturer and start to work on doing a Celestis throw blanket, which is pretty epic. Now, this is the first draft. It's not what we want yet. I have to go back in and I'm gonna brighten up the whites in it. So I have to go into the file and actually make those edits so it pops a little more. But as a throw blanket for a first proof attempt, you know, because we normally have to go through 4 or 5 iterations till we get a nail, you know, nails it really good. But it's pretty close and it looks really cool. So here we go. I'm gonna show it to you. Go ahead and take that down.
Hello again. All right. Here we go.
Trying not to breathe.
Ooh, well, let's just get you back to solo layout so we can really enjoy that. We're going to do solo again. Yes. Oh, wow.
So I'm gonna go in and we're gonna brighten up all these white lines to just make it pop a little bit more off the background. Just
Yeah,
keep
get
it
some
from a
more
distance.
contrast there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a first draft, just a little less contrast than we want, but it's getting closer.
Yeah, that's so now there you can see the whole thing now.
And then of course this is Harbinger Fire. This is ready to go. This came out perfect.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that looks stunning.
So you can just snuggle up in your sofa with a very nice dragon blanket.
So Ed, just anticipating
and they
some
are-
questions here. Will they be for
this is-
sale on your website?
Yes.
yes,
Yep.
this one is
Perfect.
available now. We actually have inventory of this.
Yep.
This is the prototype and the very first one. Again, we're gonna go over it again to fix it up. But all of this stuff we're gonna ship internationally. Not a problem.
Perfect.
Yeah,
and
they go
in
on a
order,
plastic
just so
bag.
people, if they haven't heard it earlier, if you find something cool on your website and you are non-US, you just send an email to you and say, hey, Ed, I love this. Can I buy it?
You got it. Yep. And then we'll just figure out the shipping. All they have to do is send us their address. We'll calculate the shipping and then shoot that back to them. And then what we do is we send them a link directly to our PayPal, and that way they can order it directly.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, we're trying to be full service all the way to support the whole Sorcery Dragonlord experience, you know. But hey, as far as doing other art for other aspects of their game and whatnot, I mean, I do have a ton of art that I've already done, and I don't mind doing an original piece, especially if it's a cool concept. I would have liked to have been on Gothic to some extent because I do a lot of cool undead dragons and things, and that didn't happen. But you know, you never know. The future might be. I mean, if there's ever, I've been out of the gaming industry for 15 years. You know, I haven't worked for the industry for that long. I'm pretty much 25 years before the gaming, and since 1979, I've done a wide variety of things. Everything in the retail stores we have here in the country are Hot Topic or Spencer Gifts. You would see my art there. You know, you'd see sculptures and figurines that I did. So I was a product illustrator and storybooks, you know, lots of calendars. I did the Dragon calendar that was at Barnes & Nobles and Borders every year for 15 years. And even now, T-shirts, which, by the way, got the T-shirt, Harbinger of Fire, Ignis Rex, done by a very well-known T-shirt manufacturer. I worked out the deal. In fact, I just got my account and I'm about to order. Yay! And 6 other designs. So
nice.
yeah, and these T-shirts are made on the tie-dye mixes, so they're really, really cool, high-end stuff. So that's going to be next week. So everything's coming to full fruition, like I said, and I mean, we'll see. You know, I have been out of the gaming industry for quite a while. I'll be at GenCon. Who knows what'll happen there? But at the very least, I'm going to continue to do hand-painted work. I have commissions from now until the end of I've got plenty of work to do. But I'm always open to try to squeeze in something, even if it's 1 or 2 cards a year, you know, just something
That
to
would
keep,
be awesome.
yeah, just to keep the original art going. And this product and this company and Sorcery specifically, the card game, with the fact that it's 100% hand painted, that's the only company I really want to work for. If Matt, I can tell you right now, if Wizards of the Coast ever came up, I'm telling them now, if they came to me and said, Ed, you know, it's been 15 years, we'd love to do something with you, but we're only digital, you know, or they're AI. Right now, I would have no desire, none. I'm looking to work with a company who nurtures the appreciation of original craftsmanship and art, hand-painted, one-of-a-kind art that understands that what is difficult to achieve and that takes a great deal of effort is far more valuable to humanity and society. I'm not looking for just commercial, how fast can we bang it out kind of thing. So I'm a real purist when it comes to that, which is a lot of the reasons I left Wizards of the Coast back in 2005 when they were going so digital. I don't need I'm very well off financially. I have been a very smart businessman throughout my life. I've diversified. Anything I've done has always pretty much been successful. And when it comes to automotive, or like, look at this card game, you know, look at how it's sold out in 2.5 hours. I've been blessed to have the kind of one thing I can do right, because I can't spell and I have terrible punctuation, but I can draw. You know, that's what the creator gave that. They said, Ed, this guy's going to be short. He's going to be bald.
Oh my God, I'm like,
He's going to have glasses, and he's going to have asthma. So if we're going to give you all that crap, we got to give him something, right?
Yeah.
So I fully exploited whatever talent they gave me, and so I have been very blessed with that, and I passed it forward. I've been teaching since 1982. I have published well over 200 artists. Some of them have went on to become popular game artists themselves. My attitude is being a mentor, and I'm like the kind of international world dad in a way,
Oh yeah.
But I like to try to bring young people and old, everybody, back to challenging themselves to be the best they can be in whatever craft they do, and to engage that passion of what you do. This is what I do on my Patreon. I am as excited as a child at Christmas when it comes to a piece that I'm about to do and when I'm doing it. And when it nails a certain highlight or reflection or, reflective light effect, I'm like, yes, that's what I was looking for. And that's the thing that you do when you teach. You have to be able to get inside the young person that is developing their skill, find out where that passion lies in them, bring it out by first giving them that inspiration, saying, this is great. What you've done here is fantastic. Let's take it to the next level. So that's the kind of person I am.
Positive reinforcement.
Yeah. I'm not about just the commercial thing. That's so not what I am. But I'm also a very smart business person too. I mean, that's the key to success. And unfortunately, I used to get paid. I used to be hired to do seminars at colleges for their final senior years of art colleges, graphic design, all that stuff, and right up until the 2010. And they would hire me to talk to them, these students, about how to market themselves, how to diversify their abilities and all this stuff, while they're taking their hundreds of thousands of dollars in tuitions, right? And they didn't offer any of the basic practical applicational skills. So I would do that. But I can honestly say that out of the vast majority of the art students that I've had, only about 10% of them have any kind of real business savvy or understand their own personal value. And so it's always been my plight, whether I go to my conventions or Renaissance fairs, is every young person that comes in who seems to be interested in art, I will go over to them and say, show me your portfolio. What have you got? And they'll show me their art. And I'll talk about the positive things and wonderful things they've done and get them inspired personally to take it to the next step. And I'll say, what would you like out of this? Would you like a career?
Well, one of them, because of it, she's had buildings at different fairs now for 15 years.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool to see too.
So I think that's where I want to stay. Like I said, this is 45 years now doing this stuff, and 37 years in the game illustration and commercial business. And I'm just very happy at doing work for just those companies that truly are focused on the art aspect and the collectible, the craftsmanship, Yeah. And it's great when it can have a synergy between gameplay, but that's where I needed to stay. I try to stay away from things that are strictly commercial. They're looking for streamlined and homogenization, and how fast can we bang this out? It doesn't matter how it's done. It's all about the end result. I'm all about the process, and that's where I think and that's what I loved about Sorcery, And Eric is an amazing art director, and I'm not just saying this. He really is. He understands creativity. He is phenomenal at taking something, making it fit, designing borders. He's a great graphic artist. That box that he designed for Dragonlord is fantastic.
Stunning, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I had some input on the actual logo. I did some tweaks. We went back and forth, but the one thing that we both agreed to right off the bat, I'm going to show it to him again. So right off the bat, he said, I think your art style is so reminiscent of 80s metal. We got to have a metal font.
Exactly.
And I said, oh yeah, that's what we got to do. So right off the bat, this was pretty quick to get this figured out, because it was like, yeah, man, we need to make this look like something that came right out of Heavy Metal Magazine or Metallica, So
that was totally the vibe I got. It was like the old school Metallica, Ride the Lightning album sort of style. Yeah.
Yes. So that's the one thing. Eric is just that good. He's a great art director. I personally hope that they can resolve this issue with the shortages that seem to be happening. And the fact that not certainly a more reasonable percentage of the audience needs to get this product. How they can achieve that, I don't know. I've had people asking me, would you be opposed if they needed to reprint because they may have underprinted? And I went, of course not. Absolutely, let's do it. So hopefully, whatever happens, if they really do have this demand and it continues to be so strong, you know what, you don't want to upset the audience. Obviously, you don't want to upset the players when they can't even get it. You certainly want to make sure that at least to some level, a decent percentage, maybe 80% of the demand is satisfied, and leave that 20% to, you know, strive for it. And whatever that number is, based on what we're seeing right now, it's pretty, I have to agree with a lot of the comments that I'm hearing that people are saying, I don't think it quite hit the mark of what it needed to be in production. Maybe it needed to have a little more so that every single possible LGS that's already supporting the product maybe could get a little more than just 1 to 5 or 10 boxes, you know?
Yeah, I think
There's
there's no doubt the preliminary view here is definitely that it is very, very limited.
Yeah.
So hopefully we will see that it either gets better or maybe they consider that there needs to be just a tad more product.
Yeah, you know, an adjustment, and that's not uncommon, and that's not going to negatively affect in any way the value of the product. I mean, they're all unique. You get everything in one pack. The foils right now will be near impossible to get a full set. So
absolutely.
So I think it's reasonable to just say, all right, we need to have a little more. Maybe we should at least go back. But I guess they'll figure that out on their own. That's all their decision. You know, it's all up to EC on that. And maybe it'll take about a month after GenCon. We'll see how the demand is. I know they're moving heavy into Gothic. So a lot of this attention on Dragonlord and its, let's say, lack of accessibility right now is going to wane because everyone's going to be focused on Gothic. But then eventually, those people that do have the Dragonlord set, they're going to come to the table and start playing with you. And then it's going to be like, oh, man, I wanted that.
Yeah, that looks too cool to pass up for sure.
Yeah. So, hey, you know what? It's in their hands. That's completely out of my wheelhouse. I have zero authority or input. I can't even recommend that. I'm telling you guys because it's conversation, but you know, I have no influence. But I did want to. Someone had said that maybe Ed has a contract that restricts anything like that. No, I don't. There is no. In fact, my contract very clearly states that they have the right to produce a physical and a digital version of this card product. Whatever they feel is necessary, it's up to them. There was no limitations. There was no, oh, you can only produce so much. Nothing like that. No. And I honestly, even if they did, say they went back to press and they produced another 10,000 or whatever it is. Yes, my contract says I can buy up to 10%. I'm not buying any more, guys. I'm happy with 700 boxes. I will be lucky to get to that before I die. You know?
Oh, yes, it does take some time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I've got lots of content in the future. Check out my Patreon at www.patreon.com/artistedbeardjr. And actually, Dustin, if you don't mind typing that into the chat so that these guys can see
and
it.
I will also go back as soon as the live stream is done, and I will be sure to go back and add that link down in the description of this video. So guys, if you're listening and you want to just be able to click it straight from this video, give me 15 minutes after the video has ended. It will be in there.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Sophie. So there you go. You got a lot of firsts, Sophie.
That was
Jen.
amazing. Absolutely. And we got to enjoy all this beautiful art behind you while we were talking about it.
And I also believe that, you know, the stream has been enjoying it a lot.
Absolutely. People are very excited. People are very excited about the art, the cards. A lot of people have been saying that they so enjoy being a patron because it has been amazing and very entertaining. And in general, the chat is just very, very happy.
Now we just need to have Destiny play some tunes. Slowly fading out.
That'll be the next live stream. We get to do some audio as well.
Yes. Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah, we should.
It would be very cool.
I would be totally down. 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, I'm just going to answer a few quick questions here. Yes, the set will also be available in Europe. Our LGS right now is just reaching out to distro, figuring out how much they can order. But please go to your LGS and ask them about the Dragonlord set. It should be available to order from distro right now. So best go and check it out and look at this amazing box. It looks beautiful.
Yes,
well,
and thank you, Ed, for coming on the channel. It has been really both enlightening, entertaining, and so great to see all this behind the scenes of the Dragonlord set.
Thank you so much for having us. Really appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. It has been so great. And to chat. Thank you so much for staying with us. We were going for an hour and 40 minutes, and it was absolutely amazing. Ed, thank you so much for your time. Destiny, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Please do remember to smash the like button. It means a great deal to us here at the channel if you would just hit the like button as well and perhaps even consider becoming a subscriber. Guys, it was amazing. We would love to chat to you again when all the cards are out and maybe check out some more art for the pieces that are not yet revealed.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was going to say it'd be great to do a little post-GenCon thing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We would love to do that. Okay, guys.
So hail the Dragonlord.
Hail the
And we will
Dragonlord.
see you in the next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.